All right, guys, Ride Jack back. Doing another video. There was a Bombatso article by Jack Gorn yesterday that came out. And if you don't know, Jack Gorn is a tier 1 source. Basically, whenever he speaks, you got to listen. He has definitely got connections inside the Man City building, and he's got good sources. And a lot of what he says turns out to be fact. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this article, and it's been all over Twitter a lot. But essentially, he writes an article in the Daily Mail, talks about City's exit and how it is reminiscent of our exit against Monaco in Pep's first season. Now, if you guys remember, Monaco had a team actually full of future stars. They had Mbappe at 17. They had Bernardo Silva, who we, of course, purchased later that summer. They had Fabinho, who went on to Liverpool. Benjamin Mendy, who went on to Man City, of course, didn't work out. But again, very good player at the time. They had Falcao at the end of his career, but was still a very good player. The Monaco team was great. Knocked us out brutally in the Champions League. High-scoring affair. And Jack Gorn points out in his article, 9 players were off the team, either sold or basically set aside to bench roles following that. It was the biggest transfer window of any summer we've had, where 9 guys are basically out completely of the rotation, and Pep started to build the team in his own sort of image that, he saw as the way to go. He talks here about how we could be seeing something similar based on the performance against Madrid, which, as we all know, was shambolic, awful, terrible performance. Not surprising, but still terrible. Lacked passion, lacked competitiveness, lacked a sense of fight, lacked belief. The players lacked belief, and I think the fan base certainly lacked belief. So, Jack Gorn writes, there could comfortably be 5 who leave this summer, talking about. Kevin De Bruyne's future is up in the air after not getting off the bench at Real. Gundogan is close to triggering an extension, but the 34-year-old is the sort of individual who would amicably shake hands if the time was right. Ederson will have offers, which I presume is Saudi, who we had offers from last summer, and possibly surprisingly did not go. Bernardo Silva has dipped. That is very true. Jack Grealish is more out than in with Guardiola, which we've definitely seen in press conferences. We've definitely seen that from Jack, unfortunately. He's just been way out of the lineup, out of form this year, and it's not worked well. John Stones is injured again. Mateo Kovacic and Nunez into that mix, and it's some list. Mateo Kovacic getting older, of course, not getting any younger. Hasn't been amazing. Just is more of a squad player in general. And Mateus Nunes, unfortunately, just isn't good enough, guys. We all know it. He was bought to be a center mid, and he basically never plays midfield for us. He plays right back, he's played left back, he's played left wing, but how often has he been in the midfield? Basically never. So I'm going to go with he's not good enough. Pep doesn't trust him. He is likely to head out if there are offers. He does say not everyone will go. There might not be buyers. AC Milan could choose to, not trigger the Kyle Walker option. Who knows, of course. But I mean, if you just think about all those names that could be out the door, you have Ederson, you have Ortega, because Ortega's not good enough to be our number 1. That's 2 goalies just that you need there. You've got John Stones, who is just injured all the time, and unfortunately, he's basically no use to us if he's injured. I would love for John Stones to stay in the team. He could have been our best ever defender. I maintain that he has the ability to have reached that in some universe, some simulation of how things turned out where he doesn't get hurt. He could have become our best ever defender. Injuries have just derailed him too much, and he's just not going to get that level. He's made of glass, he can't stay fit. If you want to keep John Stones, you probably should sell Nathan Ake. So that's 1 or 2 of those guys are out. Akanji has been very poor this season. He's getting to be 30 years old. Maybe they look to move him. I don't know. That's 4 right there. I imagine most of the other defenders will likely stay, but Kyle Walker is the 5th, who will not be back under any circumstances. It's not happening. Kevin De Bruyne is out the door. I don't see him re-signing. He's not going to take a wage cut, and we can't afford to have him on $400,000 a week when he can't play minutes that we need him to play. When you're that type of salaried player, you need to play significant minutes, and he just can't anymore. Breaks my heart, but it's a fact. Gundogan can't do it anymore. He needs to leave. Kovacic could have offers from Saudi Arabia, which he had in January and he had in last summer. Bernardo Silva is just basically not good enough anymore. We're at 9, guys. We're at 9 players. He has been running to the ground. Great servant to the club. Deserves a statue, in my opinion, but he just doesn't have it anymore. Nunes, that's 10. He's not good enough. James McAtee, 11. Not good enough. Then you go to the forwards. You got Grealish, 12. Not good enough. Almost 30 years old. Not cutting it anymore. And that's it. So you have 11 players that are questionable, up for sale, potentially could leave the club, which is an astonishing number for a club like Manchester City that has had the success we have had over the last 7 years. And you just see the lack of foresight from, and I'm going to say it, but Pep, because apparently Cheeky in the summer wanted this deal to get done. He was like, we're approaching some older ages in this squad. We should start this rebuild. And Pep, according to Pep, said, hold up, I'm backing my guys. We're not doing this rebuild yet. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm smarter than Pep or that Pep doesn't know what's best for the club, but clearly that was a mistake. When you have 11 players where this drop-off has happened, and the only way around it is to start the rebuild process, which we have done in January, bringing in Marmoush, and you bring in the young center backs and Victor Rice and Kusanov, as well as Echeverri, who was already a done deal, but happy to see him come in and lower the age, of course. So you see these guys leave, right? It's impossible for all 11, of course, to go in one summer. That's unlikely, but I see 5, 6, 7. It could happen. I wouldn't be surprised. I think the locks to leave is pretty simple. It's Grealish is out the door. It's not happening for him. It's unfortunate, but I think clubs will want him and will be interested in him. McAtee is out the door. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's got nothing going for him. He basically doesn't play. KDB is the 3rd. Contract's up. I don't think they're going to give him the contract. Gundogan is the 4th. I think he is out the door. Just not good enough. He's 34, going to be 35. What use is he to the squad? And then you have Kyle Walker, 5, who is without a doubt out the door in my mind. I don't think he's going to come back from a loan and have some sort of, career reclamation project at City. And then one of Ake and Stones, probably Stones, is out the door, basically guaranteed to me. That's 6. Then you have one of the goalkeepers is leaving without a doubt, because if Ederson stays, Ortega's not going to stay as the backup again. If Ederson leaves, then maybe Ortega stays, but I don't think he's good enough to be the keeper. So that's 7. I count 7 as absolute, in my mind, 100%. They're out the door. 7 players. That's going to take a lot of money to replace in the summer. You're talking big names. You need first-team quality players. You're talking 200, 300 million to get this thing done to where City are able to compete and challenge for all of the cups that we want to go for. We want to be challenging for the Premier League. We want to be challenging for Champions League. We want to challenge for the FA Cup and yes, the Carabao Cup as well. Pep said it himself, the squad is not big enough anymore. You can't run with this small squad with how many games there are. We've got the Club World Cup in the summer, as you guys all know. It's just there's too many games. We have too small of a squad. 7 guys are out the door. They're going to have to buy 7 to replace them, and maybe 8, maybe 9. It's going to be very busy summer, a very interesting summer, and a very busy summer for me on this channel, of course, as well as I will keep everyone up to date with all the news and lineup builders, Twitter news, Twitter reports, all of that speculation, of course, will be right here on this channel. So, with all that being said, I appreciate all the new subscribers, the likes, the comments, anything you guys leave. We're on a goal of 50 subs, very close. So, any help towards that, very much appreciated, of course. Again, I'll be back as soon as there's more news. We have Liverpool Sunday. I'll do a live watch along, of course, on this channel. Hope to see you guys there.